Okay. So this isn't like something I think I'm gonna do often, but I just had to get this off my chest, man. Like I just have to say it and put it out there because um, it's just been eating it away in me for like a while now. But you know, how am I gonna say this? Okay, how am I gonna say this without coming off as mean or ignorant or whatever? I guess the best way is just to rip the band off, right? So YouTube isn't a job. Like it's not at all. Like it's not even close. Like it's not a job unless you see it as one. Is what I should say better, or a better way of saying it, right? So you know, you may be wondering immediately why I'm talking about this instead of playing Tears of the Kingdom or something, right? And the reason why is because I saw this video by Moist Critical earlier, and it's basically talking about how Tfue basically retired from YouTube or Twitch or streaming in general, content creation in general. And he's basically talking about how, he didn't feel fun. It wasn't fun anymore. It wasn't enjoyable, and it was draining and all that stuff. And a lot of people in the comments were saying how, you know, YouTube is such a difficult job and whatnot. People don't realize how hard of a job streaming is, and blah blah blah, how draining that is, and you know, it's not a job. Like streaming and content creation is not a job. It's not supposed to be. But a lot of people, a lot of young people, they see it as a job because people make money, and usually when you make money, it's a job. But YouTube isn't a job, and so there's a few reasons why I say that, right? Um, the first reason is because usually when you start off a job, you have to get hired, or you have to go through an interview process, right? Like, and again, I may be ignorant, I may be foolish because I just graduated high school like a month ago, and so I may be mistaken in my assumption that in order to start a job, you have to go through a hiring process of getting an interview and actually marketing yourself to the company. But you don't do that for YouTube. Um, you don't there's no to make an account is free. There's no requirement or anything like that. And to start streaming, all you have to do is verify yourself as a human and whatever. Besides that, nah, there's no real job or requirement. Uh, so it can't be like a real job, right? In that sense. But then there's other things that besides that may be considered a job, right? But one of the biggest reasons why I don't think YouTube is a job, and what a lot of people don't think about, is the fact that typically in a job, I don't know, again, never had 9 to 5, so I don't know. Some people may know better than me, but usually your first paycheck is guaranteed once you're hired, right? I've never heard of a job where you had to do free labor for like a couple of months before you actually ever got your first paycheck. Not only that, but it wasn't even guaranteed that you'd get a paycheck and you still be doing a job. Like they could just straight up say, um, or you could just straight up not get a paycheck for years on it after working the job, or just basically doing free labor, right? Like they don't say, man, or you're gonna be on the cashier register, cash register and whatnot, or the fryer, and you say, "Where's my paycheck?" And you say, "Oh, you're not gonna get one until you prove that you're actually good enough to do it." Like that's like an internship, right? But even then, you're still guaranteed the job after you work for long enough. After like 2 or 3 weeks, you're never guaranteed a paycheck if you do YouTube. So it's not a job in that sense. Not only that, but what you're doing isn't even labor of really any kind besides like editing. And you don't have to edit your videos like at all. Like, you don't have to add anything. You just straight up make a video, post it to YouTube, and that's it. And it's it's a hobby that people turned into a job. When YouTube was first created, it wasn't ever meant to be a job. It was just a place for people to share videos online that they found enjoyable or fun, right? Like they made fun little videos and whatnot, and that's all they did on YouTube. But a lot of people, when YouTube started to reward its creators with incentives to keep posting, like monetary value, they started to use it less for what it was intended to and started to kind of exploit the system a little bit. Not really, but still a little bit. And then it slowly started to turn into a sort of profession. But it shouldn't be a profession. It should have always been a hobby where you just post videos for fun. There's no obligation. There's no requirement. But a lot of people turned it into that, and now people are starting to see it as that. But it's not. It's not a job. It's not supposed to be taken as a job. Like for instance, right? 3 years ago, I used to play Roblox all the time. I used to play a lot of games on Roblox, like All-Star Tower Defense, Blox Peace, or Blox Fruits, whatever you know it as. Games like that, games that required a lot of grinding. And I used to grind those games so much. Like straight up. I'm talking about from the beginning of school till the end of like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And I would grind them. And the only reason I stopped was because I had school tomorrow and I had to make sure I woke up so I could get dressed and be prepared. Right? But you know, it was a very, very draining process of doing that over and over and over again. And the only reason I kept doing it was because it was fun to me. It was fun and enjoyable. It was something I liked to do. It was just play video games all day, so I did it. But that doesn't mean it's good for you. Because just because something's fun doesn't mean it's good for you. Like one of the sayings I know the most is like usually the best things for you are usually the hardest, right? Something like that. But I still would play those games all day long because they were fun. And like a few like months before I quit playing those games, I was no longer having any fun at all. I just wasn't enjoying it. And the only reason I kept playing was because I felt like if I stopped playing, then I would get behind on the updates and the things like that, and the news and the videos and all that stuff. And then I would fall behind everyone else who was still playing those games, and I would, be lame or whatever. That's kind of how I felt, And so that was my incentive to keep going, to keep grinding the leaderboards and all that stuff, and trying to get on those things, to do all that stuff, because I wanted all the units, and I worked really hard for that, and I just wanted to keep going. But it was not fun at all at a point. It just was boring. I would just wake up, and all I would do is play YouTube. And like, school wasn't hard for me or school didn't keep me distracted because like, it was online school. Like my 10th grade year was online. Like I was in the lockdown year, so I missed out on the person experience entirely. So I didn't have anything stopping me from playing these games all day long because I had no real work to do. They were just giving busy work. So yeah. But I see YouTubers and Twitch streamers treated a lot like how I was treating those games, where it's a hobby at first that you do because you enjoy it, but then slowly but surely, as you start to climb up those ranks and get more and more popular, you start to treat it more as like an obligation or a job where you have to show up. Because if you don't stream for a day, and Voice Critical talked about this in his video, he said he didn't stream for 4 days. He took 4 days off, and then, he lost 8,000 subscribers. 8,000 people left him because he didn't stream for 4 days. That's absolutely insane. But then it's not when you realize that these people are consumers. Like, they're consumers and you're the product. And if you don't produce your product, they're not going to keep buying or, subscribing to see nothing. So they unsubscribe. Or maybe they just didn't renew or maybe a lot of them just didn't renew their subscriptions because they saw no reason to in the near future because, well, you weren't there to anyway, so they could go save that for something else or another streamer that they had in mind where their money would be better spent because they were still streaming. So, yeah, I see YouTubers and whatnot treat it a lot like that, where if they don't stream, then they'll lose a lot of subscribers. And so they have to treat it like a job. But it's not supposed to be. You're supposed to be doing what someone like Corey Kenshin does, where Corey Kenshin doesn't make videos because he feels obligated to. He makes videos because they're fun to do, because he enjoys making content. He comes and he goes when he wants to. PewDiePie does the same thing. He's never forced to make videos. He never has to make videos. He can spend as much time as he wants living his life, enjoying his family and whatnot. When he comes back, he can enjoy himself. And you may say that's because they have a lot of money now, and at one point there was a grind. Yes, obviously, but still, that's what all YouTubers should strive to do anyway, regardless of where they are in the journey, because it should never be a job. Because if you treat it like a job, you'll start to behave as if it's a job, as if you're being forced to come here, and that'll make your content suffer, your relationships, your physical relationships with people, and like your life will start to deteriorate as you start to focus more and more on this thing instead of spending time doing what you enjoy, which is making content. You should enjoy making content, but you should never feel forced, because it's not a job. It's not something you have to do for money. You can plenty of other options, in fact, that you should be doing for money, and that we should focus on for money. Because a lot of young people are growing up and they're assuming that this is what to do. Especially when they see young people like IShowSpeed who are around the same age as them or us. We see people like that and we're like, oh my God, he made so much money. He's making millions of dollars doing this, able to do whatever he wants, and he's just 18 years old. He's the same age as me. That's crazy. I should do what he's doing. But it's not supposed to be. Just because he made that much money doesn't mean that you're gonna make that much money, or even close, or even make a cent from it. You're not guaranteed, because not everyone's IShowSpeed, and it's not a job. So instead of wasting time chasing after stuff like that, maybe again use it as a hobby and something you enjoy, and the viewers and subscribers and stuff will come naturally, and have your actual job, have your actual profession that you practice for, that you went to school for or work for, to support you. And if you do become successful, maybe then you could consider leaving your position in life for YouTube, but you shouldn't treat it like a job, because it's not a job. And I know this video is kind of all over the place because of the fact that, I'm a little bit scatterbrained, and so my thoughts tend to jump around from idea to idea. There's no real connecting thing, which is why I don't really like making videos like this. But again, I just had to get this sort of rant, I guess, out, because man, so many people see YouTube as a job. So many people see it as like a actual profession or reliable profession, but it's not, because you're not guaranteed. And if you have like a contract with something like XQC or iShows, or not iShowSpeed, or XQC or something like that, or Aiden Ross, you actually have an incentive to keep streaming, because now it is a job. Now it is something you're obligated to now stream. And so that's again where it kind of becomes like an actual job, which it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that. But yeah, rapping or something, you kind of, and also you get a deal way earlier than being the top of your class. Usually rappers don't have to be like the top of the top in order to get a contract. Usually they can get those contracts way earlier. And if you're an actor, you can't even get a gig without actually getting a contract. You can't just walk around and it gets scooped up by a big production and they just start working on that, or just show up. No, you can't do that. You have to sign a contract and whatnot and all these things before you can even work on the movie. So yeah, it's a lot different from those things, in that there's no requirement, there's no obligation. You're never gonna be or you're probably not going to be given any contracts or anything like that or any deals. They usually don't do those unless, again, you're the very top of the top, the 1%, and you're never guaranteed to get paid. Like, never. Not once. So stop treating YouTube like a job. Stop saying it is one. It's not. It's a hobby. You're supposed to enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, just stop doing it. Again, you should have other things that you should, your fallback plan should not be YouTube. Just like your fallback plan in basketball should not be basketball. It should. If that's what you want to do, have something else to fall back on. But a lot of people don't because they treat it as a job. And so they quickly realize that it's a lot more taxing and draining trying to grind all this time to do that. It's not worth it. So yeah, it's a hobby. Enjoy YouTube. Enjoy making content. That's what you should strive to do, is enjoy making content. And if people like your content, they'll show you they like your content by subscribing. And if they don't, they won't subscribe. But don't treat it as though you really need their subscriptions, because you should have something to fall back on. But anyway, yeah, this rant's all over the place. Again, I'm losing my train of thought because there's just so much stuff I wanted to say, but some videos also getting kind of long, so yeah, I'm gonna stop it here. Again, you probably won't see a lot of videos like this from me, but I just had to get this off my chest, you know. I had to say this because, yeah, it was just burning me up inside, the fact that so many people were saying this. But yeah, you know, if you want to make content, just make it. Just don't worry about, if I start making content, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to do all this stuff and blah 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 blah. No, just grab yourself a computer, a microphone or something, or a capture card, and just have fun. And if people like it, again, they'll subscribe. And just enjoy yourself, you know? Enjoy the time. But yeah, anyway, yeah. I don't know how to end this, so yeah, I'm just gonna